Shuddha Bhakta Charanarino Bhajanarayoko Shuddha Bhakta Charanarino Bhajanarayoko Shuddha Bhakta Charanarino Bhajanarayoko So we read the translations of the song. So translation of the first verse. The dust of the lotus feet of pure devotees, enthusiastic devotional service, and service to the pure devotees of the highest order are the roots of the creeper of devotion. Here you can go around.
Yeah. You want to go first?
You can go around.
Oh, good. The holy days like EKADASI and Janmashtami are the mother of devotion for those devotees who respect them. Let the holy places of Krishna's pastimes be my place of worship and blessing.
May I always visit all the holy places associated with the Leela of Lord Chaitanya and his devotees.
When I hear the sound of the mridanga in my heart, I always desire to join in Kirtan. And when I hear the bona fide songs describing Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, my heart dances in ecstasy.
Whenever I see the transcendental Sri Vigrahas of Radha Krishna, I am in bliss, for by taking the Lordship's prasada, we can conquer over the material elements. One day while performing devotional practices, I saw my house transformed into Golaka Vrindavan. When I take the Charnamrit of deity, I see the holy Ganges water that come from the feet of Lord Vishnu. My bliss knows no bounds.
By seeing the Tulsi tree, my heart feels joy, and Lord Madhava, Krishna, is also satisfied. When I eat the prasad favored by Lord Chaitanya, it is a new life's experience. Lord Chaitanya was very fond of a green vegetable preparation called sak, and there is another song in this book that tells of the amazing effects of this type of prasad.
Bhakti Vinoda concludes by saying, whosoever attains the stage of enthusiasm for these devotional practices will be supremely blissful wherever he may be.
Jai, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki Jai.
Jai.
Anybody have any reflections or thoughts on the song before we move on to the next part? We sung this like just 2 weeks ago.
Right?
The last EKADASI also fell on a Saturday.
Oh.
Actually, this song should be sung on every EKADASI. Not on most days, but it's because it emphasizes the holy days of Lord Vishnu. Actually, in most ISKCON temples and Gaudiya months, they sing this song. Sudha Bhakti.
Yeah, even last time when we were discussing this bhajan, I had the same thought, and it again hit me right now that this is such a wholesome bhajan. It has everything: visiting the dham, the Charnamrit of the deities, prasad, worshiping Tulsi, worshiping the deities, sound of mridanga, just kirtan, chanting.
Prashad.
Yes.
Shah.
So it's such a wholesome bhajan. Everything is covered. And also the last one says that wherever he may be. So all these things are so easy to carry. Anywhere we go, there are no limitations. That only a certain place this can happen.
Today, the one thing that stuck out to me was the mother of devotion. That's EKADASI and Janmashtami and festivals like those. When I was taking a class with Amarendra Prabhu about EKADASI. So EKADASI and Janmashtami is that when we're very low in our spiritual life, we're almost dead. And these days, like EKADASI and Janmashtami, Krishna has designated that there's some special mercy on this day. If you notice, it's easier to fast, it's easier to chant, it's easier to read on these days, and there's no explanation why there is. EKADASI is just one of those days that, and it comes twice a month. And there's special EKADASIs like Mokshada EKADASI, Pandar EKADASI, and then there's special festivals like Janmashtami, Gaur Purnima is coming up. Those days are actually, more than anything, is to invoke fan the spark of devotional service in us. Because during the week it gets dormant, but then once we have these festivals, that's why if you look at out in the outside world, Christian holidays, there's Easter and there's Christmas. There's only like two main ones. There's other ones, but these are two main ones. But if you look at our calendar, it's like every other day is a festival. Actually, I was reading Bhaktisiddhanta Vaibhava, I'm reading that. This actually wasn't a practice before Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati compiled these festivals. He said he made this calendar, the calendar that we use today. Every ISKCON temple we use this calendar. It's created by Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. And so that you know, when do we celebrate the appearance of Parameshwari Das Thakur, Purushottam Das Thakur, Ganganarayan Chakravarti, and so these names we may not have heard of, but then on these days when we remember the Shuddha Bhaktas, when we just remember the Shuddha Bhaktas, then it becomes purified, right? You might see those names, right, in the calendar. If you look at the calendar, we put those names in. Who knows who these people are? Remember last EKADASI was, no, it was the Saturday before Vasant Panchami. It was so many. There's Raghunandan Thakur. Who else was there? There's so many, like Vasant Panchami, Saraswati Puja. There's like 5 or 6 things. These days are actually meant to purify us. So on this day we can always, and it happens so that every EKADASI we can make a checkpoint. You know, how do we do from last EKADASI to this EKADASI? 15 days. You know, the 11th day. So from 15 to 15 to 15. So this is what I thought. Anybody else would like to say anything? Okay, we'll move on to the next part of our program, which is reading from the King of Literatures, Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam. And the Srimad Bhagavatam class today will be served by Her Grace VrajaBhakti Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
First time speaker in our program.
Oh, is it?
It's her first time here.
First time speaking.
You know, usually we don't get initiated devotees.
First time actual qualified speaker.
Qualified speakers here. There's a qualified here, and then we can serve the Bhagavatam class. Hare Krishna. We got the wireless mic. Just for you.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Hare Krishna. We are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 11. I hate to give away my age, but I need to put my glasses. Chapter 3, Chapter 11. So, Chapter 11, text 6. Natha, repeat after me. Bow down.
Bow down.
Smart,
Smart.
we have done so.
We have done so.
They unto you.
Unto you,
Natha,
Natha,
O Lord,
O Lord,
Sada, always.
always,
Angri Pankajam,
Angri Pankajam,
the lotus feet.
the lotus feet,
Virincha, Brahma,
Brahma,
the first living being.
the first living being,
Vairincha, sons of Brahma like Sanaka and Sanatana.
sons of Brahma like
Sanaka and Sanatana.
Sura Indra, the king of heaven.
King of heaven,
Vanditam,
Vanditam,
worshipped by.
worshipped by
Parayanam,
Parayanam,
the supreme.
the supreme,
Kshemam,
Kshemam,
welfare.
welfare,
Iha, in this life.
in this life,
Ichchatam,
Ichchatam,
one who so desires.
one who so desires,
Param,
Param,
the highest.
the highest,
Na,
Na,
never.
never,
Yatra,
Yatra,
wherein.
wherein,
Kalaha, inevitable time. Prabhave, can exert its influence.
Can exert an influence.
Varaha, transcendental.
Transcendental.
Prabhu, the Supreme Lord.
The Supreme Lord.
Natasmate Natha Sadangri Pankajam, Virincha Vairincha Surendra Vanditam, Parayanam Kshemamihe Chatam Param, Nayatra Kala Prabhavet Para Prabhu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The citizens said, O Lord, you are worshipped by all demigods like Brahma, the four Sanas, and even the King of Heaven. You are the ultimate rest for those who are really aspiring to achieve the highest benefit of life. You are the supreme transcendental Lord. In an inevitable time cannot exert its influence upon you. Purport. The Supreme Lord is Sri Krishna as confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, Brahma Samhita, and other authorized Vedic literatures. No one is equal to or greater than him, and that is the verdict of all scriptures. The influence of time and space is exerted upon the dependent living entities, who are all the parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord. The living entities are predominated Brahman, whereas the Supreme Lord is the predominating absolute. As soon as we forget this clear fact, we are at once in illusion. and thus we are put into threefold miseries, and one is put into dense darkness. The clear consciousness of the cognizant living being is God consciousness, in which one bows down unto him in all circumstances. Om Adnanati Vedandasya Vedanta Krishna. I see blessings from all of you, so that I can share something that I heard, something that I read. So actually, Hari Prabhu gave me verses 6 to 11. We'll go verse by verse and see how much we can cover by 9 o'clock, and then rest follows the next week. So here, the citizens of Dwarka, the chapter entitled Lord Krishna's entrance into Dwarka. So Krishna went to Hastinapur, now the Kurukshetra war is over, now the Pandavas are, they're established as the kings of the world. Now he is returning to Dwarka after a long time. So when Krishna was entering into Dwarka, he blew his conch shell first. That already the devotees read in the previous verses when he was entering into Dwarka. So that sound of the conch shell, but the Dwarkavasis were like lifeless, because Krishna was not there for so long, they didn't see him. So when they heard this sound of the conch shell, it's like their life came back. Some people are eating, some people are taking baths, some people are worshipping, they're eating in their home. But still, they did not care in what position they are. As soon as they heard this sound of the conch shell, they started running towards the gate of the Dwarka. So why they could run like that? Even our pujaris, they blow conch shell during Darshanarati. We are still in the Prasadam hall talking to somebody in the kitchen, cutting vegetables. We don't run from darshan. Why? What is the difference between Dwarkavasis and us? Why we could not run from the darshan when the curtain opens? Because the relationship between Dwarkavasis and Krishna is extremely, extremely divine. They develop the relationship with Krishna like that. And we also have that opportunity to develop that relationship. So when they heard that sound, they're like, oh, Krishna is coming. Actually, Balaram and Pradyumna, they were actually having prasad. They left everything and they ran. So we also, in our lives, in Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also gave us one sound. What is that sound? Nama. Right? Holy name. When we hear the names of Krishna, when we chant the names of Krishna, we are also hearing.
Yes.
We are also chanting, we are also hearing. But is the changes happening in the heart? It is taking a lot of time. It is happening slowly, because we can see how we were before we came to the movement, how we were a few years before, and how we are now. So the change will happen, but we need to develop, we need to practice with faith. We need to have that faith that the holy name is going to clear, going to purify my heart. Right? And another thing all these verses from 6 to 11, I just scanned through yesterday. Most of it is like how these Dwarkavasis are appreciating Krishna, how they are saying, they're missing Krishna. So this is basically these pages of Bhagavatam here. They are telling us how to establish the loving relationship with Krishna. Right? One time Prabhupada was, he was traveling. This is like arrival. It's Krishna's arrival, right? If you see Prabhupada's tapes or Prabhupada's books, there are a lot of things saying Prabhupada's arrival address, right? A lot of lectures, they say Prabhupada's arrival address. If you go through most of them, it is mainly Prabhupada glorifying the deities there, glorifying the devotees there, because he's trying to establish the relationship with them, right? He's trying to establish. So one time Prabhupada was in one place, and one Mataji, she came to Prabhupada and she said, oh Prabhupada, Krishna consciousness, everything is so good. Everything is so fine. Everything is blissful. And then there is Yadbar Prabhu, next to her. he was the leader of ISKCON, one of the leaders, you know. For us, when we come to Gaurapurnam festival, Janmashtami festival, all we see is, everybody nicely dressed and all the stalls, everything is there, prasadam is serving out. But behind the scenes, the community, the temple committee, they will be pulling their hair for almost 2 weeks. Where to schedule who is doing arati, who is doing abhishek, who is standing at the book table, all these things, right? So Yadvar Prabhu said, Krishna consciousness, everything is not fine. Because he is in the leader position. she said, everything is so fine. And Yadvar Prabhu is like, everything is not fine. And Prabhupada is like, oh. Now there are two people standing next to each other in front of Prabhupada. One is saying Krishna consciousness is blissful, and another is like, nah, not really. So Prabhupada looked out through the window and he looked back and he said, Krishna consciousness is fine from inside, but it is not everything is fine from outside. Right? Krishna consciousness is fine from inside, but not everything out in the world is not fine. That's what Prabhupada meant to say. Why Krishna consciousness is fine inside? See, how much our conflicts we have, how much our difficulties we have in life. When we come in association of devotees, if we forget everything, right? As long as we are in a temple, none of us think what our boss said, none of us think what our in-laws said, especially Mataji's. Nobody thinks of anything. All we can think of is, oh Mataji, what can I do? We go into the kitchen, what can I do? We come here, sit in the class. Everything is about Krishna. Because the name itself is transcendental. Right? So another thing is, because sometimes even if we become devotees, we carry certain things with us. Not everything is purified at the same time. We do carry certain things with us. So what happens is when we are outside of the movement, before we join the movement, right? I am the manager of a company, or I am the CEO of the company, or I am the tech lead of a group of developers, or whatever is an IT language, or I am the CEO of a hospital, something like that. So we are so much, what is the word? Addicted, or we are so much in these thoughts, I am so and so, I am so and so. So when we come into the movement, when we come to practice Krishna consciousness, we do carry certain things like that. Like, oh, VrajaBhakti Mataji is speaking, she is a good speaker, even I am not, let's say. And then somebody sings so nice, we give a stamp, Kirtaniya. And somebody dances, he dances. Somebody cooks, he's a cook. So what happens, those designations we are still carrying. Oh, I am the good cook, I am the great speaker, I am the great singer. So what happens when we are in the thought process? We are forgetting the actual absolute truth. Who is great? We are all servants. We are all, for us, everything is given by Krishna. So Krishna is the supreme absolute. Everything is coming from him. But we forget that fact because we are putting those designations, but in a spiritual organization saying you are a kirtaniya, you are a cook, you are a book distributor, you are this, you are that. But our relationships, when we talk to each other, when we associate with each other, when we leave, say we are leaving here from today, we need to make sure in the exchange of our relationships and the exchange of talks, we make sure that every one of us elevate little bit by talking about Krishna. Every one of us take one more step closer to Krishna. I may be a great speaker, somebody else may be a not speaker, not kirtaniya, or anything can happen. But those designations we should drop. And see how I can help my friend, how can I help my devotee sitting next to me to elevate her consciousness or his consciousness little more. And how can I get help from other devotees so that I can elevate my consciousness. If that is not the goal, it's very difficult to remember Krishna. It's very difficult to remember that he is the Supreme because we carried away with this. And then another thing, main thing that in this verse, it is said that bowing down, right? Who is bowing down to Krishna? Virincha. Virincha is Lord Brahma. Vairincha. Vairincha is the sons of Brahma. And then Sura Indra, he is king of heaven, Indra. So all this, starting from Brahma, Indra, everybody, Chandra, everybody is bowing down to you, O Supreme Lord. Right? Why they are bowing down? Because they recognize that he is the Supreme Lord. Right? And then the Dwarkavasis are saying, those who bow down, what is the benefit that you get? Every day we come into the temple room, we offer our obeisances. What is our mood when we are offering obeisances? It's just as a formality. Most of the time we do it as a formality, right? Sometimes we are, I see, sometimes we come in and somebody says, Haribol Mataji, how are you? We don't have time to stand and say Haribol. We are bowing down and saying, I am fine Mataji, Hare Krishna. We are here offering obeisances to Prabhupada and we are answering a question outside. Right? I'm fine. And they keep asking questions, sometimes devotees, even though we are offering obeisances, they keep asking questions. Did you have lunch? We are like offering obeisances, no. So, what is our mood when we are bowing down before Srila Prabhupada, when we are bowing down before the Supreme Lord? Krishna says, give your mind to me. Give everything to me. Offer your results to me. Give everything to me. But I am not there. I'm still attached to my thoughts. I'm still attached to my mind. I'm still attached to what I'm doing. So when I bow down before Krishna, Krishna, I want you to give everything that you want. You want me to give. I want you to offer everything that I have. But still I am attached to Krishna. I still could not offer it. Please forgive me. But please accept this, my obeisances on this day. Please take these obeisances from my heart. This is little I could do today, but one day I really wanted to offer everything to you. That is the mood. I'm here before the Supreme Lord, I have to give everything, but I am still so attached. When we bow down, that is our mood. So they are saying, you are worshipped by demigods like Brahma, four sunas, and even the king of heaven. You are the ultimate rest for those who really aspire to achieve the highest benefit of life. Krishna gives everything for us. The highest perfection is readily available if we surrender. How we surrender? How are you going to surrender? Surrender is not something like, I pay every Hari schedules once a month Mangalarti and I come for Mangalarti and I am done with Mangalarti. And rest of 3 Saturdays, don't even worry about anything else. We will wait for Hari's WhatsApp message again, Then we will think about Mangalarti and Krishna. We can do that at home. We can get up in the morning. Either you chant, if you're working people, try to chant in the Brahma Muhurta time, try to chant in the early morning. That's one way of worshipping Krishna. That's one way of remembering Krishna. So we can do rest of the 3 weeks at home. And when the opportunity comes to be in the association of devotees, in the Mangalarti, take that association. Take that opportunity. And then in that, as I said, in that association, we don't feel the influence of time. Right? That's what they are saying here. The influence of time exert. So there is no influence of time. So because we don't feel, so that binding and separation doesn't happen in that moment. Like right now, just in material world, we are here and then we are not there sometime. And we are back again, we are not there. Like say, so for Ukraine war right now, current hot topic. Everybody in that country would have slept the day before thinking that next day is going to go smooth. Every plan is that tomorrow morning I have to get up and go here, go there. But all of a sudden in the middle of the night, all these bombs started blasting and everything. So now what happened? Everybody is trying to run for their lives, trying to find some shelter. So nobody knows, some people are dead, some people are running away. So who is thinking of the family at that time? Who is thinking of the bonding at that time? Everybody is trying to run away for their own life. Parents are carrying kids. So that binding, that family binding it's not there at that moment. I need to run for my life. They might say run. And then airports, they are going to the airports and then they are blasting the airports. They could not go anywhere. So it's a threat to the life. I'm going to die. Such a panic state of consciousness. But devotees, when they practice Krishna consciousness, when they bow down and when they take the dust of the Vaishnavas, when the death comes, what do Vaishnavas? They say, I'm not worried. Take the example of so many great souls. Bhaktitirtha Maharaj left his body few years back, and he was completely full of cancer, his body. But he was blissful. He was saying, for anything in the world, I will not trade this position. He was in panic, he was in pain. Everything was swollen, the cancer, you can see the tumors coming out of the throat, everywhere in the body. He's paralyzed half of the body. But still he was in bliss, he was laughing. He's making other people feel that, what am I doing? With all these body parts working so fine, what am I doing? How can he be so blissful? Because he surrendered. He took shelter of Krishna completely. Every time he bowed down, he was grateful to Krishna for that opportunity. Every time he bowed down, he was begging Krishna to give one more opportunity to bow down again. Every time he bowed down, he was praying to Krishna to bring more people towards his lotus feet so they also can bow down and get the feel of it, get the mercy of Krishna. Right now, Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, what is going on with him? Nobody can understand. He got liver transplant, kidney transplant, this transplant, that transplant, and then few weeks back he was in pain, something is bleeding inside his stomach, he was in severe pain, and they rushed him to the hospital. They treated him, but they said we need to do some physiotherapy to his legs movement and hand movements and what was he saying? If you see Jayapataka Maharaj's videos now, we cannot really understand him what he is speaking. But there is a translator, one of his disciples, he translates as soon as Maharaj speaks because he could follow what he's saying. So he was in the hospital, the physiotherapist came and he said, Swamiji, you need to move your leg up and down like this. And then what did Jayapataka Maharaj say? He said, I will move, if you want me to move, every time I move it up, you need to chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra once. Every time I move it down, you need to chant another Hare Krishna Mahamantra. To the doctor. And the physiotherapist is like, otherwise I'm not moving. I'm not going to do it. And then he was holding, he's saying Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And then because this doctor is not used to it, after a few minutes he couldn't remember to chant. And he was holding his legs so tight. And he's looking at Jayapataka Maharaj, he's like, you forgot to chant. And then again he's Hare Krishna, Krishna. How? What is that consciousness? That consciousness is coming because they're all surrendered. That consciousness is coming because they're grateful every time they bow down before Srila Prabhupada. Every time they bow down before Krishna. So, as I said, the time, it deteriorates everything. At one point of time I was not wearing this. Now my age, I don't want to tell my age, but I can't read without the glasses. Old age eyes now. It's not like my sight, but because of my age I cannot see. Going forward, there is something comes in the eye and they do operate, and then probably today I'm walking, probably down the line in 10 years, 12 years, probably I have to walk with a stick in the temple. Who knows? So the body is going down. The kala is deteriorating everything. So we need to take opportunity now. Every single moment, every breath counts, devotees. Every breath counts. We are misusing the time means we are losing the time in going closer to Krishna. So bowing down is not a simple thing. When you go to Vrindavan, people, what do they do? How do they do Govardhan Parikram? People, especially us, not everybody, I cannot talk for everybody, especially say me. If I go to Govardhan Parikram, now Parikshit cannot walk, or something, because I'm going to sit on a rickshaw or something and I go around. Even most of us, we cannot walk barefoot, so we wear shoes. And there are devotees who do Sashtanga Praman, they do every step there is Sashtanga Praman, and then they get up, again they do Sashtanga Praman. So they do so much. So when we are offering obeisances in the temple room, our knees, our every organ is on the floor, offering ourselves to Krishna. That is the power of bowing down. We are saying, Krishna, take everything from this body, everything is yours. I am bowing down before you. So whenever we bow down, we need to be grateful for that one opportunity. We see many old people, they cannot bow down. How difficult it is. Hari Prabhu's Aji, his grandmother, how difficult it is for her. She still bows down. She's like, no, I don't need help. She wanted to bow down herself. She does, but with difficulty. Now kids comes, they come and then just like slide and bow down. Can I slide and bow down? If I slide next time, somebody has to carry me to Riverside or OSU. So next time the ambulance comes, 911, my slide and 911 call goes parallelly. But kids slide and bow down. As the time goes, the body becomes old, the mind becomes weak, the senses becomes, what do you say, weak, everything is weak. If we feed the mind now with every single thing that we are doing, thinking about Krishna, either it can be cooking, offering obeisances, deity worship, everything. If we can train our mind now, and then when the time comes, don't think that, okay, I practiced all this life, so I am going to be successful at the end of it. Right? If we can study so hard, you study so hard and you prepare for the final exam, and then when we go, sometimes the crazy professors, they don't know what questions they give. Right? Whatever you study, at the end of it, in the final exam, it's like, what is this? What did I you get probably you just pass, no highest grades or anything. Similarly with us, we may practice the entire life, but at the end of it, it is Krishna's mercy. It is Krishna's mercy that comes into our life so that He makes us remember. Right? So, in order to get His mercy, we need to serve Him throughout. We need to get His attention. Krishna, I am doing this. Krishna, I am doing this. Otherwise, how we are going to get His mercy? If our consciousness is me serving, so I wanted to get my name, I wanted to get my fame, then how He is going to give the mercy to us? He is going to say, okay, you want to do, you are doing, okay, say VrajaBhakti, you are doing. So at the end of my life, I am like, VrajaBhakti, I did, where is Krishna? So that's why we need to be grateful. With every bowing down of our life, we need to capture the dust of the Vaishnavas and dust of Sri Krishna's lotus feet. So that is the main point, main theme of this 6th verse, bowing down. So now let's move on to 7th. Sorry. So let's move on to the 7th verse. Bhavaya, for welfare. Now, for us. Tvam, your lordship. Bhava, just become. Vishwabhavana, the creator of the universe. Tvam, your lordship. Eva, certainly. Mata, mother. Artha, as also. Suhrit, well-wisher. Patihi, husband. Pita, father. Tvam, your lordship. Satguruhu, spiritual master. Naha, our. Paramam, the supreme. Cha, and. Daivatam, worshipable deity. Yasya, whose. Anuvritya, following in the footsteps. Kritinaha, successful. Bahuvima, we have become. O Creator of the universe, you are our mother, well-wisher, Lord, Father, spiritual master, and worshipable deity. By following in your footsteps, we have become successful in every respect. We pray, therefore, that you continue to bless us with your mercy. We covered most of it in the previous verse, how Krishna is everything, how Krishna is mother, father. Let me tell you one little story with that previous verse, how, the mind plays with us, how the time plays with us. So one day there is, Akbar, most of Indians knows Akbar, the King Akbar, and then there is a minister in his court called Birbal, right? So one day Akbar, he came. So this is basically how time influences, okay, this story, how mind can be influenced. So he came into his corridor, what you call porch, in English kind of called porch. So he came into the porch and then he saw his washerman. Washerman in India, here we have washer dryers, those days there were no washer dryers. So washerman used to come collect the king's clothes and wash it. So he saw the washerman in the pond washing his clothes. Somehow when he was walking into the porch, something happened and he fell. Like either he hit something or he slipped, I don't know. So he fell and his chin broke. Akbar's chin broke. And then immediately all his other ministers came, the VrajaBhakti, the doctor of the king came, and he said, oh, what happened? And then they're like, what did you do? How did it happen? And they're like, oh, I went onto this porch and I was just looking at the washerman washing and this has happened. And then immediately everybody's like, oh, because you saw the face of the washerman, this inauspicious things happens, right? So in the material world there is auspicious and inauspicious. So this inauspicious happened because you saw the washerman's face. So you need to punish him because he showed his inauspicious face to you. And the king got so mad because he's already in pain. He's like, yes, hang him to death, right? And then when this washerman came to know about his punishment, he's like, what did I do? I was just washing the clothes in the pond. I didn't mean to look at him or anything. So then he don't know what to do. So he's like, whom should I take shelter of? So he went and asked Birbal. And I didn't do anything, I was just washing the clothes, Birbal is like, oh, okay, give me some time. So Birbal went to Akbar, the king. He's like, oh, king, what happened? And he's like, yeah, Birbal, I saw the face of that washerman, then I fell and then my chin broke and bleeding, so that's why I was hanging him to death. He's like, oh, really? So did you really see his face? Akbar says, yes, I saw him. So you were in face to face? You have an eye contact with him? He's like, yes, we are in eye contact. When I saw him, he also saw me. We're in eye contact. And then Birbal says, oh, wow. So you looked at his face, your chin is broke. And he looked at your face, he's hanging to death. So who is more inauspicious? And the king gets bewildered. He's like, oh no, what did I do, So he's like, oh, okay, now I understand that my decision is wrong. So then he just says, just leave him alone. So those inauspicious, auspicious events, it happens only in the material world. When it comes to Krishna, everything is auspicious, right? Somebody gets cut in the kitchen, they say, oh, it is so inauspicious, I'm cutting vegetables for Krishna, it got cut. Does anybody say so? No. They say, put band-aid and keep going. There is no time to think auspicious, inauspicious. It's just all auspicious in the service of Krishna. And then as the 7th verse says, Krishna is our father, mother, everything. Devamrita Swami Maharaj, many of you know in India, he's from Pune. So one time he was talking about this verse.
Devamrita Swami or
Bhakti
Rasamrita Swami?
Bhakti Rasamrita Swami. Sorry, yeah, Bhakti Rasamrita Swami. He was talking about this verse and he was saying, those who help us to go closer towards Krishna, those who help us understand the importance of the holy name, those are our real parents. The Guru is our real mother and father, and Krishna is our real mother and father. So one student, he came new to the temple, and he's like, oh, really? And then he went to his mom and dad, he said, you are not my father and mother anymore from today. The Bhakti Rasamrita Swami and then other spiritual masters, they are my father and mother. You are not my mother and father because I am already 25 years old. You never told me about the holy name. So you are not my father and mother. And his mother came crying to Maharaj. What is this? What happened? Why he is saying like this? And then he said, no, I will fix him. Just don't worry. Then he went and spoke to him and he explained to him. The consciousness should be Krishna is your mother and father, but you have to take care of your mother and father, you have to listen, you have to respect, your mother and father in this world, because they are the reason for your body to be here. They are the reason for you to help practice Krishna consciousness. So this all happened in the material world. In Krishna, in Vrindavan, who says Krishna is not my son? All gopis, they bring all kinds of rasgullas, sandesh, sweets, and Yashoda says, stop, stop, stop. They don't care about Yashoda. They say, you stop, you eat Krishna, you eat. Because they treat Krishna more than their son. And they pack Krishna, all sandesh, rasgullas, and they pack this normal food for their own kids. Right? Because they are treating Krishna as their own child. That's the highest love they have. So, anyway. So let's go to the next verse. Aho. Oh, it's your good luck. It's our good luck.
It's our good luck.
Sanataha. To be under the protection of the Master.
To be under the protection of the Master.
Bhavata. By your good self.
By your good self.
Sma. As we have become.
As we have become.
Yatvayam. As we are.
As we are.
Traivishtapanam.
Of
the demigods. Api. Also. Duradarshanam. Very rarely seen. Premasmita. Smiling with love. Snigdha. Affectionate. Nirikshananam. Face looking in that mode. Pashyema. Let us look. Rupam. Beauty. Tava. Your. Sarva. All. Saubhagam. Auspiciousness. Oh, it's our good luck that we have come again today under your protection by your presence. For your Lordship rarely visits even the denizens of heaven. Now it is possible for us to look into your smiling face, which is full of affectionate glances. We can now see your transcendental form, full of all auspiciousness. So here the citizens of Dwarka, they are praying to Krishna, saying, see, Brahma, all the demigods, Indra, Chandra, when they get into trouble, they go to the shore of the milk ocean. Like, in Telugu movies, none of you know, but Telugu people, they know. In Telugu movies, when we see these movies about gods, Vishnu sweeps from the ocean, zoing, he comes up, with his zoing, he comes up like that. And then all the demigods, oh, Prabhu, that's wrong. That's not true. Even the demigods, when they go to the shore, they cannot see Vishnu in person. They can only transmit their message through their heart to Vishnu. And then Vishnu transmits back. Only once in a while Brahma gets the darshan, not everybody. So here the Dwarkavasis is saying, even those four denizens of the heaven, those demigods, they also don't get the opportunity to see you. How fortunate are we that we are having the darshan of you in front of our eyes. And your form is full of auspiciousness. And so how fortunate are we that we are having darshan of Radha Natapara. When we take darshan starting from the lotus feet all the way going up, this is second canto, right? The second canto, first and second cantos represent?
It's first canto.
This is first canto. So the first and second cantos represents the lotus feet of the Lord. Right? So when we take darshan, how fortunate are we to take the darshan? So we may not see him in person because he is in person there, but we don't feel it because we do not have that purity yet. Right? There are people who feel that purity. One of the pastimes is Raghunandan Thakur, right? Murari Gupta and Raghunandan Thakur in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela. Murari Gupta was a doctor, but he used to go out of town one day. So he says his son Raghunandan, see, I am going out of town today, so you please help mommy with worship today. So you make sure when she cooks, you go and offer. So she makes the plate as usual every single day, and then she gives the whole full plate of bhoga to Raghunandan. Raghunandan takes it onto the altar and he puts it on the altar and he prays, oh Krishna, please come and have prasad. And Krishna doesn't do anything. And he sits there and he keeps asking, come on, eat. Someday I have to go. And he doesn't come. And then he starts crying. Oh no, you're not eating now. I'm in trouble because my mom gets mad, my dad gets mad because they gave me bhoga to offer it to you and you're not eating. And Krishna, by looking at that innocence and pure love of Raghunath, he comes down and he eats the entire plate, not just little. He eats the entire plate. And then he goes out with the empty plate. And then his mom asks, what happened? Where is the bhoga, prasad? Krishna, Krishna, you offered to Krishna. I said offer it to Krishna, but where is the prasad? And she said, he ate it. He's like, what do you mean he ate it? She said, Krishna ate it. And she don't know what to say. And then Mukunda comes from his tiring journey, and then he asks his wife, okay, bring some prasad. She says, what prasad? There is no prasad. And she says, what do you mean there is no prasad? He's like, this is what happened. Right? And then Mukunda calls Raghunandan, he says, it's okay, just be honest. I will not be mad, but just tell me what did you do with that bhoga. And Raghunandan says, no, Krishna really ate it. And then Mukunda says, his wife, okay, you make laddu.
Mukunda or Murari?
Murari? Mukunda, I heard Mukunda. Murari. Okay. He says, make laddu. Right? So she makes laddu and then she gives to Raghunandan and she says, now you go and offer. And then again he goes with the laddu and then he says, Krishna, come and eat laddu. Krishna says, I'm so full that you fed me already, I cannot eat anymore. He said, again he starts crying, no, they don't believe me that you ate, now they wanted to see you really eat. And Krishna is like, oh, okay, I'm so full but I'll eat it. And then he takes the laddu and then he eats half of it. And then he was watching, his father is watching out of the curtain. He says, right? And then Krishna disappears back into the deity. So that half laddu that he ate, it is still there. If you go to Mayapur, there is a place called Srikant.
Yes.
Yes? If you go there, there is still that, it's holding the half of the laddu, like that. It is there. So, see, that's the purity. Now, when they both go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, both son and father, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asks, so, who is the father, you or Raghunandan? He says, Raghunandan is the father, because he taught me the pure love. Right? That's what in the previous verse we say, Krishna is the mother, Krishna is the father. Whoever gives the opportunity, the holy name, whoever helps us to go towards Krishna, they are the real mother and father. Even though on the material platform, he was the son and he is the father, but when it comes to bhakti, he says, he is my father, I am his son. Right? So, that intensity we need to develop in bhakti, that intensity to serve Krishna, intensity to worship Krishna, that's what we need to develop. So, as they said, just taking darshan of the Lord is very, very, very rare. So, please let us take that opportunity whenever we come to temple. Just take few minutes, stand before the deity and just take darshan, starting from his lotus feet all the way up, and pray at his lotus feet how we can serve him better, how we can improve in our consciousness and serve him better. Hari, I'm going to stop here because it's 9 o'clock, so we can continue with the rest of the verses in the next week. So I'll take a few questions if you have any. We have 4 more minutes to 9. So if anybody has any questions, we'll take, otherwise. Yes?
I don't have a question. I mean, it's kind of a question, but I really like your point in the beginning you made about that, how we, before coming to Krishna consciousness, we still identified ourselves with some position in our material world. But even after coming to Krishna, we are still we are bringing all that baggage with us, and we are still saying, okay, I am this, I am that, I can do this better, I can do that, or like we even find faults because I know something. So sometimes that also, like, I think this is very common question also, that, it's sometimes you have to, at least correct others, but not like in a way that they feel bad. But also at the same time, it's a service, right? It's also, and like, for example, even in the kirtan, the kirtan is supposed to be the offering. It's not the name, fame, whoever can be the best singer. But if something is not going well, right, then it's because it's an offering, so it also has to be at least it's not the most expert way, but even simple can be in a right way. So even in that way, one should step up and.
Yes, that's why we need to set up some guidelines even for Kirtan in our temple, We try to, most of the time the temple committee try to say, we need 1 or 2 mridangas and 1 kartals, but sometimes parents are enthusiastic, their kids want their kids to play, so all the kids and starts playing mridanga, and then even after saying so many times, that sensitivity has to be realized by parents. That it's not like we don't want them to, during kirtan, stand-up kirtan, play it. Nobody can really, it's not going to mess up the beat. It's not going to mess up the kirtan. Like sitting bhajan, say if Hari is singing and Narahari is playing, and if I come, I don't know any mridanga, and if I come and take the mridanga and I say dam 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 dam, Hari is going to stop kirtan. He's going to say, Mataji, if you want to do kirtan, you do it, I am leaving, right? Because it's going to disturb the consciousness of the kirtaniya. He is trying his best to offer whatever he can offer. The mridanga player is sitting and he's trying to offer whatever he can offer. But it doesn't mean that everybody come and sit and they offer whatever they can offer. But there is a time, place and circumstance for each thing that you offer, right? So suppose somebody is cooking breakfast and I come exactly in the time period of them cooking breakfast. I say, for evening 5 o'clock offering, I want to make gulab jams move. How does it make sense, right? So similarly, kirtan also we need to set up some guidelines, saying we have only 2 mridangas or 1 kartal, something, whatever standards is allowed, and then we need to gently tell parents, time to time we need to tell, because they forget.
Yeah, kirtan was just an example.
No, anything is like that. Yeah. Anything is like that. So if we are giving class, somebody sometimes, because I went through it, I know. You really wanted to listen to the class, but kids are so small, they keep making noise. I cannot say, I also want to listen, he's only making a little bit noise, but I want to sit here. It's disturbing everybody else, right? So like you better now, we have speakers everywhere, downstairs, kitchen, everywhere. So let me move out of this temple room so everybody else can focus. That sacrifice I have to make it, and Krishna appreciates that sacrifice, right? Krishna is going to acknowledge that sacrifice. Krishna is not going, so she's not interested, that's why she's moving out. Even though she don't know how to raise a child, even though he's making noise, she cannot keep him quiet. Krishna is not going to think like that. Krishna is going to appreciate that sacrifice, that she is sacrificing this so that she can bring that soul closer to me. Right? Anything you take, we need to have a gentle way of communication with everybody if we need to correct.
So that brings me to my question now.
Yes.
So when I think you also brought up this point about sincere and purity when you are offering anything, like Raghunandan Thakur. So in this again, going back to the kirtan, if someone is just sincerely, they don't know how to do certain things, but they're sincerely they are doing it for Krishna. But it doesn't gel well with other people's participation also. So now how does it work, in terms of devotees and Krishna also,
See, Prabhu, that's what I'm saying. We just need to learn the balance in life, right? Sometimes when a festival comes, Janmashtami comes, we schedule kids, Ujjwal sings, Parikshit sings, and somebody else sings, they sing. But when they sing, it's not exactly, the Mridanga and harmonium, they are not in sync. If you observe it, they are not in sync. With the kids keep playing Mridanga, harmonium, they pump so much, bam, 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 and Mridanga trying to play the beat, but they try to somehow manage it. But it doesn't mean that we stop the kids. No, don't play, so many guests are coming, it's not in sync. It's okay. They will learn. Everybody has to start somewhere. So we also need to take one step back at certain times. Things like that. Not like Sunday if it's 11 o'clock, okay, if you want to sing, sing. But like when some sannyasi came, some special guest came and he was sitting there waiting for the class and I scheduled Parikshit to sing Haribo. bring somebody like Gurudev Prabhu or somebody who can sing nicely, so that it brings that pleasant atmosphere, it sets the mood of the devotees so we are ready to listen to the pravachan, listen to the class, like that. So sometimes we need to adjust as leaders, as congregation members to facilitate that to parents. Where will they go? Right, at home they are not very inspired. So once in a while they want to do it at the temple, we need to facilitate it, but we need to find a proper time, place and circumstance. That's how it is. That balance has to be there, otherwise community will not be happy. So we need to make the community happy and we need to learn that balance.
Thank you.
Anything else? Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, I like that. I like that you mentioned that the balance is very key. Just to take it out of the kirtan example, like there's one Mataji here. Like we stay in the temple, and then some people come at 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, and it's like most of the days it's kind of empty. And as Maji came, I think like 2-3 weeks back, and she's like, Prabhu, I have one request. I want to offer arti to the deities, and I want to go inside the altar and do puja. They came, and then so if we use this rule, that they have the sincere desire, they want to do this, but then we also have the rules and regular principles.
Right.
So would it be wrong for me to tell her, no, yeah, go ahead, dress the deities, do everything? It would actually be wrong to do that.
Right.
But then she does have that sincere desire, so I guess it's the duty of the temple to facilitate devotional service according to the rules and regulations.
Right.
But also to follow the rules and regulations. So we can't. That's where the thing of management comes in. Is that how to properly inspire this devotee, and then how to maintain it so all the Vaishnava customs are held. So same thing with kirtan. Shiva Maharaj always says that it's up to the kirtan leader, whoever's leading the kirtan. It's up to them to manage everything.
Correct.
I think it was Swarup Damodar said in his in Swarup Damodar Kadach, it's written that if Mahaprabhu even hears, Swarup Damodar Prabhu would hit people with sticks if they were singing the wrong way.
Yeah.
And and if you think about singing, who are we as singing? Krishna, there's the gopis. They're the expert singers. What mridanga can we play? What harmonium can we play compared to Krishna?
Yeah.
But we just have to try a sincere best. Sincerity is also being sincere, but also making the absolute best offering you can make for Krishna. That is also sincerity.
That's true.
So I like that you made
Yes,
that point.
even in Chaitanya Leela, during Radha Yatra, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu strategically, systematically divided 7 groups, and he said 2 mridangas and 2 kartals here.
Yeah.
So you dance. He said
Bakri
you dance and you sing. And the rest of you just follow. See, he made 7 groups systematically. He didn't say just do enthusiastically, just
Whatever
do
you
it.
want,
Whatever you want, just sing and dance and roll on the ground. He didn't say that. He systematically said, you are dancing, you are singing, you are playing mridanga, you are playing kartals. So that is needed. As he said, we need to follow the regulative principles. That's our base, for our spiritual life. Regulative principles is the base. Somebody is eating, I eat all meat and then I want to bring meat offering Hare Krishna, just. But we have these rules and regulations to follow. So we need to encourage based on our rules and standards. And then, if as we said, somebody really wanted to do worship, we need to tell her, you need to get initiated to go onto the altar, you need to chant 16 rounds, so and so, you need to ask for a spiritual master, and then we give them the rules, the path to go there. And if they want to follow or not follow, it is their choice. So we need to, that's why that thin line of balance, that sensitivity is very important to keep the community together and happy.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of maturity to find that balance of killing their devotion and also to raise them up to that standard.
Yeah, let me share this one thing. Hare Krishna, Ramchandra Prabhu, Sita Sundari Mataji, please forgive me. Ramchandra Prabhu, Sita Sundari Mataji, when they came initially, they both were colleagues at Nationwide, my husband and him. So
What year was this?
probably 2005, maybe 2004 or something like that. I didn't remember the year. So that time, congregation is not much. So we used to cook every Sunday feast at home and bring it. We used to make, me and my husband used to make 150, 200 puris, rice, sabji, everything, and we used to bring the trays. And carry the trays here, in Walmart, those big storage boxes, the plastic storage boxes. We used to put it in that. And then we used to bring Sunday feast, serve, clean everything. We used to come in the morning and then do everything and leave. So when they started coming, they wanted to do it. They wanted to take part in cooking. So I said, okay, you just make pakoda. And Srila Sundari Mataji makes good pakodas, right? So it's we make pakodas. On Kruti's 5th birthday, now our Kruti is so big, but Kruti's 5th birthday, we went. And they are serving cake, right? So I went into Sita Mataji and I asked, does that cake has egg in it? She said, yeah. I said, oh, that has egg in it, so we don't eat, He's like, why? We don't eat directly, but we eat indirectly, cookies, cakes. So now I'm in dilemma, right? Because she's making pakodas and she's eating indirectly these cakes and cookies. They don't eat anything else at home, but indirectly cookies and cakes. So I called her the next day because I was in charge of the kitchen at that time. So I called her the next day and I said, Mataji, I truly appreciate the services that you're doing and your enthusiasm to do service. But yesterday only I came to know you indirectly take certain things, which is not allowed, in the temple. So you don't bring them to temple, I know, but still, when we eat, our consciousness has some impact on it, and we are serving that same thing that we cooked on fire to others. So you have two choices, Mataji. You can come to temple and you can continue to serve whatever you can, but you cannot cook anything on the fire. If you decided to cook on the fire, Mataji, you need to stop those things. And I told her, you don't need to give me the decision right now. We still have, this is the beginning of the week, so we still have a few more days for the coming weekend. So you can think about it and let me know. So she took some time, and then, see, that's what Krishna does, right? When he puts that fishing wire onto your sikhas, onto our hairs, gone, over. It's not like you're fishing and you miss it and you do it again. Once you put it, you're out. Right? So she thought for a while, and then she said, I never wanted to give up this service. I'm going to stop eating everything. Indirectly, what are cakes, cookies? We're not going to get them anymore. Over. That's it. That's the last time. And now we see our Sita Sundari Ramchandra Prabhu, wonderful leaders of our community in all ways. So many services they do. So somehow we need to tell people, but we need to tell in a certain way that they understand our concern. We don't blast, you did tell me that you eat eggs, stop nonsense, you're not allowed to cook, bam, I put the phone. She's like, what the? I thought devotees are so nice and, mellow, and this Mataji is behaving like a demon, like, what is this? So we need to find the balance. We need to find the balance and let them know our concern and how we are concerned about the community with that service. So, yeah. Anything else?
I like this point in text 6. The living entities are predominated by Brahma, whereas the Supreme Lord is a predominating absolute. As soon as we forget this clear fact, we are once in illusion, and thus we are put into threefold miseries as one is put into darkness.
Yeah.
So cutting is that once you forget that point, like even it makes me a little uncomfortable to say, I am predominated. That little, I don't want to be taken advantage of. I don't want to be, that little uncomfortability that I'm feeling. That's actually me wanting to be the Purusha, me wanting to be the controller. And then once we start thinking like that I want to be the controller, the doer, and so many things, Prabhupada's putting it, we're an illusion. And we are put into threefold miseries, and we are put into dance darkness. Yeah. So that Trinada Bhisunichena, Karora Bhisunichena, that we should humble, like that's why we pay obeisances, right? It's not a very clean place. It's actually in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna doesn't recommend too many like actions. He just says do yoga, control your nose, this, and he says that how the devotee thinks, bhakti yoga. But then one of the clear things he says, namaskuru, paying obeisances. That's one of the clear actions that we can take from Bhagavad Gita. There's surrender unto me. How do you surrender? But namaskuru, fall down. Like the straw on the street. Things like that.
See, even in the Bhagavatam, when we take all this Govardhan Leela, what does Indra do after the entire mischief that he did? He come and offer obeisances, pranam.
Yeah.
Gajendra, what did he do? Namasmarami, nama, offering obeisances. Brahma Vimochana Leela, Brahma with all his heads. When he goes to Dwaraka also, same thing, right? I am the Brahma. Who else you are talking about? I am the Brahma. Krishna is like, okay, you come inside, we'll show you. Right? So, that's offering obeisances has a deep impact on the soul.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you.
And thank you so much for this opportunity. Please forgive me if I say anything that is not correct. I'll try to correct myself. Please send me the feedback for my corrections. And then whatever I spoke, anything nice, it's all from my spiritual master and from all the singing Vaishnavas that I heard. Thank you so much for this. Hare Krishna.
Bhagavatam ki jai. VrajaBhakti Mataji ki jai. Prabhupada ki jai. EKADASI ki jai. Mahamangalarti ki jai. Now prasadam time. Great big prasadam feast cooked by Srila Prabhupada. Hare Hare. Bye everybody. Hare Hare.
I am not so pure bhakti.